Hello, everybody, and welcome to a very special episode of the Atheist Experience. I am Russell Glasser. I am a host of the Atheist Experience and current president of the Atheist Community of Austin, and I wanted to welcome you guys to our special 20th anniversary show. To commemorate the time that we've all spent together, we have brought on a bunch of people, most of whom you see here, and some of whom might be stepping in for them later. The Atheist Community, or the Atheist Experience, has been running for a scarily long time now. And a lot of these people are past hosts and crew on the show, and so I want to go around having everybody introduce themselves. So let's see, from the left side of the screen, that left side of the screen, we've got Joe Zamecki. Hey, Joe, how are you?
Great to be here. And 20 years, been a great run, awesome show.
Yeah, well, why don't we, in addition to just telling who everybody is, why don't you say a little bit about how you got involved with the show, or you were there from the beginning, right?
Yes.
Tell us about the early days for a couple minutes.
The early days of the show?
Yeah.
Yeah, we did our first show, first episode, a pilot episode at Fur's Cafeteria at the North Cross Mall, which is mostly gone now. And that was a taped 30-minute show. We were all brand new to what we were doing, and it was a lot of fun. And
you filmed it in the cafeteria?
Yeah, they had a conference room.
Okay.
So we kind of got that room, and we had our meetings there once a month anyway, and so it was very good for the people who worked there. We brought them to business, but that first episode was a lot of fun, 30 minutes, taped real quick, and it's on YouTube still.
Wow. Did you use like a handheld camera, or did you bring in something bigger?
Somebody had a camera, and I believe it was a consumer-grade camera on a tripod, and it was transferred to some other format by the studio, the old AC studio downtown. But yeah, it was very easy by comparison to what y'all are doing here, yeah. My goodness.
Yeah. I mean, yeah, I think we've come a long way since then. What year would that have been?
97, in October of 97, I believe, was...
right. So, 20 years.
There you go.
Obviously,
and
I can do math.
The shows we did at the TV station, the Austin Community Access Center, and those were also very, very enjoyable. I started out there as a co-host.
Cool. Next, we have Ashley Perrien.
Yes.
And welcome back. You said that it's your first time setting foot in this studio.
Yes. I mean, I was around in early 2000s, mostly on the TV show and coming to the ACA meetings, stuff like that. That was still down at the bagel shop in town and the ACAC studios. Yeah, we got this building a couple of years ago, and I just haven't had a chance to actually make it down here to our new library and new home. So it's good to see it. It's a lot of fun. So.
What do you remember about your first time getting involved in the show and the early days that you were on it?
I was new to Austin at the time, and I remember it was just one morning I was flicking around TV channels, Sunday morning, and Channel 2, nothing on, Channel 3, nothing on, Channel 4, nothing on, Channel 5, hang on a second, Channel 4 again. And they had the big Atheist Experience banner in the background. Had to go back a couple channels for that one, and wow, that's brave. But I watched a couple of episodes for a couple of weeks, and then they had the meetings down at the bagel shop, so I'm new in town, don't know a whole lot of people. I'll go down there and see what's all about. And that was when it was mostly Jeff and Martin hosting the show. It was a lot of fun. It was great fun to see people.
Yeah, cool. So I'm Russell Glasser. I also moved to Austin sometime around 2000, maybe late 99. And let's see, I moved with my first wife, and I had just been out of college for a few years, and being just out of college, being in college makes it really easy to have a social life. Being out of college and in a new city meant that you have to actually work to get a social life. And so I said, hey, why don't we figure out, using this newfangled internet thingy, if we have anything in our area that specifically caters to atheists in Austin. And so I looked it up and I found out about these meetings at the bagel shop that you mentioned. I came in, and this was my first time walking in. I didn't know that there was a show, but we walked in and there was this big table of people just sitting around chatting and laughing, and a lot of them were actually clustered around this guy, Jeff D, who kind of had a little bit of a mild rock star aura about him at the time, for real. Okay. And I went up to them and I said, is this the atheist group? And somebody said, no, that's them over there in that tiny table. But anyway, I came in, I found out about the show, and came in and started doing like camera work, eventually moved to producing, and then started co-hosting and also hosting later. Jeff.
Okay, so I'm apparently some kind of a rock star. News to me.
Very low-key rock star.
I remember I was a co-worker. I was working here in Austin, and a coworker said to me, hey, there's this classified ad in the local liberal rag about these meetings that atheists are having. You're some kind of big atheist guy, right? So I went down and checked it out, and it was those early meetings at the Hot Jumbo Bagel Shop near downtown Austin. And at the time, it was basically people left over from the American Atheists crowd that used to be based here in Austin. A lot of old folks. Mm-hmm. And I remember Joe Zamecki was one of the first, the younger people that showed up there. And he had this exciting idea, let's do a public access show like the American Atheists used to do. And the reaction from the rest of the group was like, no, we can't. The Christian right is getting really uppity and violent right now. And they really seemed to think that if Christians got wind of the fact that we were meeting, let alone had a public access show, they'd all come charging in with machine guns and mow us down. And so after a few meetings, I decided that was way too furtive and afraid for me. So my friend Denis Loubet, who is now one of the co-hosts on the Nonprofits, and I started hanging out with the University Skeptical Society, which was a more general purpose skepticism-based group. We couldn't be members because we weren't university students. And it was because of some public debate that they hosted that I got invited to be a guest on the Atheist Experience show, which had, in my absence, they had gone ahead and done it. So kudos to Joe for continuing to push on that. And they had me back a couple of times, and then I believe, was it when you moved away, Joe? You moved out to the East Coast to work with American Atheist, right?
Right.
So I moved into Joe's co-host slot, and the rest, as they say, is history.
Let's see. So who were you hosting with at the beginning, Joe?
Well, Ray Blevins.
Okay.
And
that's what I thought.
Don Rhodes occasionally helped us with hosting, and then a few others would come and go, but it was, for the first year or so, it was me and Ray doing most of the hosting and co-hosting.
Okay. And then you co-hosted with Ray also.
Yes.
Until you took over the host slot.
Yes.
For a while.
Ray bowed out.
Okay. And Arlo Pignotti here.
Hi. I discovered, first I discovered American Atheist just as it transitioned. Those guys were transitioning into the atheist community of Austin, and I remember when I was coming to those meetings, people were talking about starting a show. And so,
what connection was there between the atheist community of Austin and American Atheists? Because I'm not sure, or I mean, was there, or just carry over members, basically?
Well, yes and no. I mean, for years, American Atheists tried to have a local atheist group in Austin. It never really took. And a part of the reason was...
We win.
Right, well, part of the reason was the lawsuits, the state church separation lawsuits, and the politics and the negative media that sometimes arose from that, which we understand, of course, but there was some more negativity than that. Anyway, some people didn't want to be a part of American Atheists. So when American Atheists announced that it was going to be moving to New Jersey, then it kind of opened up a whole lot of field of possibilities there for a local group. And almost immediately, one atheist got with American Atheists, and we kind of shared information about atheists living in the area to find more of us and let them know that a new local group that is actually not a part of American Atheists started up, and that was a very popular idea.
So,
Yeah,
sorry to interrupt.
No, that's
there.
fine. No, because my first impression of atheism and an atheist group was the American Atheists had an office, but it was just a building, and Joe was there, man in the station, and a lot of cool bumper stickers and books and stuff, but it wasn't a community. It was like one person at a time was there you could talk to, and that's cool. But when y'all started meeting, when you had Atheist Community of Boston had meetings at the bagel shop, that was a real community, and that was good for me because I was fresh out of high school, had really no social life, especially not with adults, and I think I was probably the youngest person in the group, and so it was very developmental for me because I didn't have church or anything at all growing up, nothing that you could really call a community. And so this is really cool. And so I was just hanging out, every weekend, started going to the show every weekend. There's always something to do behind the scenes for the show. And I somehow mostly got involved with sound because I was doing electronic music at the time, and I just kind of felt comfortable with dealing with anything with sound. And sometimes they'd have me on the show, maybe a guest wouldn't show up or something, and I'd just go there and just have fun.
You brought little guests. I really wanted to talk about, you used to bring little guests,
I think he's talking about holy paraphernalia. Maybe,
that too,
right?
but
I had a pet turtle, and because I was talking about evolution and happened to have a turtle with me, so yeah. But that was just one show. It wasn't like an ongoing theme or anything. But yeah, holy paraphernalia was a fun thing I was doing, and where I was just I had fun going into Christian shops and craziest things they have there. By holy paraphernalia, I mean like religious artifacts that are being sold by fundamentalist Christians usually. And so like an example would be a Jesus action figure that it's not a joke. This isn't a spoof. It's a real Jesus action figure made by Christians for Christian children. It have little loaves and fishes in the kung fu grip, and I still have it today. I mean, it never multiplied after all these years, but so anyway, there's like hundreds of little religious kits and things and pamphlets that I would just kind of showcase and show off. And so, this is just, it was really good for me because I used to be such a very shy, introverted person. And not only am I meeting people and atheists who I thought I was the only one when I first started having these thoughts that there's no God. And then to be on a show, this is just really good for me. It just got me out of my shell. And so
cool.
It was very important.
So the show today was set up by, I think, Mark and Vern and a couple of other people who are our full-time producers / engineers. I mean, not full-time, but they are dedicated to setting that up, and they arranged to get all you guys together and set up the format of this show, and we're really excited to have this as sort of a celebration of all the effort that every one of us has put into the Atheist Experience. So I think they have a toast ready for us or something. Oh, here it comes. Yes, step right in, my good sir.
Okay.
Adorable.
I guess we have more to pass to. Your towel is on camera.
I feel like if Arlo was able to do the sound effects, we could have like a kazoo playing or something. Woo!
Golly.
All right, thank you.
And we've got digital confetti. It's always nice.
In case you're just listening to this as a podcast, we've got amazing state-of-the-art special effects.
Thank you, that's enough.
Thank you.
This little.
I was going to say, now I look like the Lush, but then I looked at what Arlo.
I didn't
This is
think
something I
to.
remember about the atheist community. We've never been very good drinkers.
That's
I
right.
actually
we gotta
don't
tell
Remember that
Sorry.
party where they ordered a keg and there was like essentially none of it got drunk?
So we haven't
Yeah.
figured that part out.
I actually don't drink at all. I should have
Neither
said
do I.
when.
Oh, okay.
No, I'll take a sip. It's all right.
You would have thought that godless heathens would all be, really good at all the various sins, but apparently drinking is not one that at least the early crowd of the atheist community of Austin was into. But anyway, to 20 years.
20 years.
Alrighty.
20 años.
Hello.
Yay.
Yay. Yeah.
I'll save this for my homies. Yeah.
So another thing that we have prepared for today is a clip. Are some clips that we are going to be playing throughout this show. So why don't you go ahead and roll the first one?